session is recorded. I want to welcome you to the session of SAM.gov walkthrough. My name is Natasha Borchnin. I am a program manager for Southeast Pennsylvania Apex Accelerators. Many of you are already our clients. So I want to welcome you. And I'm joined here by Beth Albach, Assistant Program Manager here as well, who is going to be chiming in, providing additional information throughout this presentation and giving me a little break. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Beth. I'm going to turn my camera on. I just wanted to show my face and welcome you all. We also have our assistant, Donnie, who's going to be monitoring the participation room for any latecomers. And as I mentioned, I welcome also all of our Apex counselors who have joined us today, and I welcome their input throughout this presentation. So if you wouldn't mind, just show of hands, show me who has already started their SAM.gov registration process. So kind of have an understanding of my audience. If you know where your raising your hand button is, okay. Thank you all very much. How many of you have had trouble with the SAM registration process? Yep, I see some hands showing up. So we are here to hopefully provide you with clarity on this process. And here, but before we begin that, I just want to kind of review our program. A lot of you may know us as PTAC previously. We've been known under this name for about 38, 39 years. But now that we are funded by Department of Defense, they are rebranding our program as Apex Accelerators and providing us with additional resources to support you even better than we have in the past. And this we are a federally funded program under DoD. We provide a no-cost government contracting assistance. As you're navigating your government contracting journey and you're Googling different information, you will see a lot of per fee services, and we are providing all of those services for free. So before you invest in any of them, do check with us. The chances are we can provide you with the support in those areas. We provide support with vendor registration, such as SAM.gov, government marketing research, plan development, proposal evaluations, and the counties we serve are Berks, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Lehigh, Montgomery, Northampton, and Philadelphia counties. If you are in a different county, we are locally organized in order to support you best in your local and state procurement. We will be happy to find you your appropriate Apex Accelerator. There's about 95 of us throughout the country, and all of the areas in the United States are covered. These are the ways to contact us, and this presentation, along with many others that we have had in the past, is you can be found on the YouTube channel. So please visit us there as well. So let's start with what is SAM.gov. It is a system for award management. This is a database where a government, among many other things, registers all of the businesses and government entities that they are cooperating on different opportunities, grants, and funding. And this is the way for them to validate their businesses as well. And how to use SAM.gov websites, we will be showing you today, as well as how to register with SAM.gov. As mentioned, we offer those services for free. And we know that it's not easy, so a lot of businesses come to hiring someone to do this for them for about $500 to $1,000, but we are happy to do this for you for free. And SAM.gov is also a place where you can search for published opportunities from different federal agencies. Is SAM.gov registration free? Yes, the registration itself is free, and our assistance to support you through SAM.gov registration process is also free. As mentioned, you're welcome to use services, per fee services to do that, but we will also mention later in our presentation, those services are now limited in what they can do for you on SAM.gov. So who should be registered on SAM.gov? Any business or individual that wishes to do business with the federal government. Any business applying for federal grants or federal financial assistance through grants.gov. So while we can help you with the registration for both. I do want to mention that we will only be able to assist you with the aspect of doing business with the federal government and not with the financial assistance portion of it. But we can certainly help you with a registration process, as mentioned. So there are many things you should know before you begin registering that is very helpful throughout the process. And if you know them ahead of time, you will not be finding out the hard way. So every time you do anything on sam.gov relative to registration process, we do recommend that each step, and there's at least three, you complete them in one sitting. For example, obtaining a cage code process can take up to 45 minutes of answering the questions and reading through them. So it is not the kind of system that you can start and come back, log in, and restart it again. So uh, make sure that you have allotted sufficient amount of time to register in SAM. Now, the SAM.gov registration system is changing daily. They have recently revamped the entire validation process, which keeps us very busy, means that every pre-existing business and a new business registering in SAM had to take additional steps in order to have businesses updated and validated. And some of the features that we are showing you today may look different tomorrow, right? But we will certainly, we are learning these things on daily basis along with you. Every time we assist the client, I find that we are learning something new and happy to assist you. But what we are showing you today may just look a little bit different tomorrow. We do recommend that you use your PC. That is impossible to accomplish on a phone or your tablet because some features are not available on phone or your tablet, and there's so much reading to do, and it requires quite a bit of uploading. So I'll be prepared to do it on your PC. We have also found that the system is somewhat biased toward Google Chrome browser. I have accomplished it on other browsers, but it seems to like Google Chrome and a PC versus an Apple product. But it's also, I was also able to accomplish it with some of my clients on their Apple Chromebooks as well. So just something to keep in mind. The validation process is not immediate. The whole process, it can take up to 4 to 6 weeks. So if you find an opportunity that you want to bid on and you do not have your cage code, please do keep that in mind. It's not something that can happen overnight. Make sure that all of your registrations with the state are in place. And this one is a big question. We get this a lot. Have a physical location for the business. You must have a physical location for your business. We know that there are many businesses may utilize PO boxes or virtual offices. Those will not work for the purposes of SAM.gov registration. And even though let's say you have your business registered with Staples and it says suite number, if you do not have a lease showing a square footage or having actual physical location, it will not work for your registration in SAM. Make sure that you have your EIN documentation and that it is consistent, or tax ID number, and that is consistent with your business registration. Also, you will be asked to input your bank account information, so have that ready, routing numbers, account numbers, and so on. Identify your NAICS codes and PSC codes ahead of time. If you do not know or need assistance identifying those, we can certainly help you with that. But NAICS codes are mandatory and associated with things that you are looking to sell to the government. PSC are complementary codes, and they're not mandatory fields in a SAM.gov registration, but it does give government additional information on what particularly you are looking to sell to them as well. Okay, next slide. So make sure that you have that you assign appropriate account admin person. And whenever that admin person leaves your company and you need to sign a new one, that you have all of the pre-existing information from the previous account admin person. We know that business owners are very busy. They often task their, administrator or accounting person to complete the registrations and keep them up to date. But make sure that you do not lose access to your account and that you have their login information, and as well as other codes that they might have been provided, such as MPIN number, two-step authentication information, that all of that is transferred to whoever you're looking to assign as the administrator on the account. Make sure that all of your entries and records are consistent across the board. So let's say your EIN number should have a matching address with your state, and as well as your company names with your state registrations. And in preparation for this, make sure that you upload all of those documents in a PDF format, because the SAM.gov registration system will be asking you to upload those. There's a really useful entity registration preparation checklist. This is a live link. So once you receive your presentation, you can click on it and obtain it. And I do suggest completing it prior to even approaching a SAM.gov registration. This way, you have all of the information in one place and in front of you before you begin your entries. It will make the process a whole lot smoother, I promise. Uh, as I mentioned, companies can use third party to register in SAM. However, as of spring of this year, SAM.gov has put limitations on what those third party businesses can do for you. So they cannot act, as administrators on your behalf. So I do suggest doing this yourself. They can still search for opportunities, do some other things for you. But if you're interested in more information exactly of what they can do, you can email us, and we will provide you. And you're using a third party, we can tell you exactly what they cannot do for you. If you have been working with them for quite some time, they should have informed you of this change, I believe, which I believe occurred in March of this year. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you ever want to add or change your record in any way, you have to go through all of the steps of the registration and confirm, each page of your registration. You have to at least walk through it and confirm it before making any changes. So it is not very user friendly in that regard. It will not be able to just click on a tab for the information that you want to change and make those changes that way. You will have to go through each step. So once again, make sure you have plenty of time allotted to make those necessary changes. We get this a lot. Once you enter your information, your information is part of a public record. So the upside of that is that you're now visible to potential other businesses want to do business with you in a government contracting space, and you're visible to federal entities. So the downside of that is you're visible to everyone. So you may receive a lot of junk mail, a lot of business solicitations and proposals to assist you with your SAM.gov registration, your DSBS information, dynamic small business search information updates, and so on. So please keep that in mind. While it is very difficult to decipher which one of those is emails associated with government reaching out to you versus business proposals from these companies, the good way to decipher those, if you look at the extension of those emails, if it doesn't say .gov and it does say .com, the chances are that this is a business trying to reach out to you. So you will be reading through a lot of junk mail. Okay, so the system, as I mentioned, is not very user friendly and it's not terribly intuitive. So, people come to us feeling bad that they couldn't get through the process. It is not you, it is them. So, because there's, like I mentioned, there's no way to check on a single tab and change your record. You have to go walk through a whole record every time you want to make a change. There are search fields listed under all domains, which is not very intuitive, but I will show you in a live demo at the end of the presentation on how to navigate that. There is really, it's difficult to say because it's a three-step process. There is no prompt to obtain a cage code. So people often, when they receive a UEI number, they're expecting that cage code will shortly follow. However, you have to take additional steps in order to obtain a cage code, and we will walk you through that as well. There are quite a bit of hidden features hidden under a white bubble with three blue dots. If you click on it, it will reveal those features, but this is not something you necessarily would think to click on. But I will, and whenever in doubt, you can reach out to us and we can walk you through it. So essentially, creating a SAM.gov account is a three-step process, right? You have to create an account login through, and you have to validate your entity, government making sure that you exist in a public records. And finally, you have to register your entity and obtain a cage code for it in order to for the government. Finally, we will show you just a quick way to search for opportunities in the SAM.gov once you are registered. Or actually, you can begin that the moment you create your login. So creating a SAM.gov login account, very important. While a couple of tips that I want to give relative to that. While you can use Gmail or Yahoo or any other, public email, I do suggest that you use an email associated with your business extension. So if you have a website, the chances are you have an email associated with that. It will be a part of a public record, and it will just look more established. And make sure you create your two-step verification process right away as well. Login.gov will give you 4 ways to establish that verification process, but I do suggest using your cell phone and receiving your codes that way as the easiest one to log into your system, because you will be asked for a two-step verification every time you approach SAM.gov and your workspace. So something to keep in mind. That's a step 1. Now, the step 2 is obtaining your UEI number. In order to obtain a UEI number, the government has to discover you in public records. In order to discover you in public records, they want a proof of your name, your address, entity start year, and state. So, and I will let my colleague elaborate on all of those options and what documents you can use in order to validate your entity with the SAM.gov. Beth?
Good morning, everyone. Just want to stop here. This is a very critical part of your registration. Again, before you would be able to receive a unique entity identifier number, you're going to have to provide entity validation documentation. These are documents that will, again, validate your full and correct legal business name, the correct physical address for your business, and the year in which your business was formed. This is information that you're going to enter in SAM during your registration. You're going to physically put the year in, you're going to provide them with your address, you're going to give them the legal name of your business. Through these entity validating documents, the purpose of these is to upload them, and it creates a cross check. It's going to check the information that you provided within your SAM registration, and it is also going to cross-check against other federal and state government databases. So for instance, under list A for name and address, you can most commonly use documents are things such as articles of incorporation or your certificate of formation or organization from the state. That's your LLC paperwork if you filed that with the state of Pennsylvania. Secretary of State certificate of filing, depending on where you are, it's called different things. Other documents that you can use are such as your operating agreements, driver's license for sole proprietors or individuals doing as business only, licenses to operate, provided by the state. List B is going to verify your start year and state of incorporation. Again, you will see that there's a big crossover between these two types of documents, such as, articles of incorporation and the Department of Treasury IRS EIN assignment letter. Again, you don't need to have one in each of these categories. Your EIN IRS form provides all three of these things right there on your form. It will give the legal address, it will give the legal business name, and it will give, obviously, the date in which that was assigned to you. What I do find, and where most people kind of go wrong with this, is that back when you first created your business, a lot of people either had a home business or, you filling in information, at a time when you were, a very small fledgling business. As businesses grow, you may change locations or, business names. You've decided to do doing business as opposed to your legal business name. And you don't think to update these things with other agencies. If your documentation does not match what other databases have on file for you, it's going to cause a rejection of your account, of your registration. Again, it is best to have these things in order before you start doing this, than as opposed to going back and trying to fix them once there has been a problem noticed a problem. Again, it's easier to fix your information with the state. If you have organized your business in the state of Pennsylvania, there are forms that are right on their website that you can, put in for a change of address to keep up with the thing, keep up with where your business is located. Make sure that, again, they don't always have, and this is the caveat to this. Your business documents should match each other. But again, your EIN is not going to change with your business location. What you are doing is creating a history of your business. So your EIN then, in that case, would provide the year your business started and your legal business name. You would follow that up with a second validating document, such as your business formation documents with the state of Pennsylvania, a letter from your bank of good standing that has your business account and address on there that you receive to your business bills, even that you receive at your business address. You're creating a trail that shows how things have changed for your business, but you're also, again, validating the three things that they need to know. What is your full and correct legal business name? What is your current and correct physical address? And when did you start your company? And again, it is critically important that you have these things in place prior to starting your SAM registration. And, we cannot emphasize enough that it is so much easier to fix these things and get all of your ducks in a row before you sit down and start this process. Natasha, I'll just throw it back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And as Beth mentioned, the easy fix is to have one document that verifies all of those things: your name, address, entities, start year, and state, which is the EIN document. But we understand that EIN document is one of the first documents that you have obtained, and things have changed since. So, but you can use these other supplemental ones. So, okay. Now, the government wants to know, what is the purpose for you wanting to register in SAM.gov, and they're preparing you for the steps that you're going to need to take in order to register and obtain a CAGE code. So it's if you're registering for all awards, which is the case for participants here, considering that you're all small businesses, you will go through the steps in a column left. And if you're just looking for financial assistance and access to grants.gov, you are going to go through steps on a column right, without me reading each one of them. And in order to get started, you would just click on your sign in right there. And if you don't have your login, it will prompt you to do that, right? And then once you are logged in, you're going to click on a Get Started button if it's a completely new entity. If you are renewing or updating your entity, you're going to click on Renew and Update. Now, government wants to know, as I mentioned, why are you in this system, right? So they keep changing these questions all the time. This is the current one as of 3 days ago. So if you're looking to do business, the most intuitive answer here is to directly work with the government. If you enter with business or other organization which receives funds directly from U.S. federal government, you may just be assigned a UEI number, but uh, do register in a way that it will give you a cage code. If you have both UEI number and cage code, you can act as a prime on a contract or a subcontractor. So this is the best option here. And then while you can select the best answer that fits for you today, I would say select bid on federal procurement opportunity as a prime contractor. Once again, this is just government putting their feelers out, trying to understand why people are registering in SAM. And this is an interesting question. Are you registering a government entity? And I personally have had quite a few clients make a mistake here, and therefore they were precluded from obtaining a cage code. So you are not registering a government entity. You are registering a business looking to do business with the government, right? So this question pertains to some of the, local or state entities that are receiving funds from federal government. So the answer to this would be a no. Right. So in order to remedy this, we had to do additional steps, and it took additional time to fix that. So please answer a no to this question. You will be registering the following. So after you have answered all of those previous questions correctly, you should come to the place where it says business organization or all awards. And it says, what do I need to register? That I do suggest download this guide. You can also download it from this presentation. I made it handy for you so you can prepare for that. And it's going to tell you what data you will be entering in order to register. So once you enter you have to enter your legal business name. Now here, and there were many clients also that were stuck here, right? So it is not always intuitive that you need, your entire zip code, right? So if you just put your 5-digit zip code, it is not sufficient in this system. They do want to know what is the 4-digit supplemental zip code to your 5 zip code. And easy way to find this, if you don't already know it, is to find it on the United States Postal Service website. And this is a link on how to look it up. So have that prepared as well. So you don't have to ahead of time. So you don't have to search that at the time of the registration. So once you enter your information, you will see that government is searching different databases to find your business, to find your entity, right? And upon it will list results. Once it lists results, go through them and see if you see your entity listed in there. It's going to give you 3 options. One, my entity is listed and all details are correct. In that case, you are in luck, right? So and then you could just click on that button and move forward with your registration and obtaining your UEI number. If your entity is not listed, which often happens with newly established businesses. So if you have not filed your taxes as of yet, you're a new company, you not and databases are not populating your record, those validation documents that Beth has talked about become even more important because you will need to upload it in order to create an entity for SAM.gov to create on your behalf in this system so you can proceed with registration. And the third button is my entity is listed, but some details are incorrect. So if those incorrect details are related to your business address, to your business name, once again, validation documents will be super important and need to match whatever entry you want to make. So whatever your business name, it needs to be listed exactly like it is in those documents. Because this is not the place where you may decide to change the name of your company. You need to change it on all the registration before you populate it in a system. So, and then to complete entity registration, after you completed this process in a few days, SAM.gov will send, hopefully in a few days, will send you information saying you can proceed, you've been assigned an EIN number, and this is where you start your process all over again. Now, be prepared with your NAICS codes as mentioned, and here are some resources where to find your NAICS codes. Also, another thing, so you may find them on these different tools, but also a good way to find the NAICS codes is on a federal procurement data system. Now that you have created login.gov, it will give you access to this database system called fpds.gov. Government has an obligation to be transparent about how they are spending our taxpayers' dollars. And while it's once again not very modern or user friendly, it has a plethora of information in there that is very useful as you're creating a government marketing path. And we can certainly help you that in on one-on-one session and really focus this, show you how to do search for that is specific to your business. But it will also list NAICS codes, which helps you understand how government publishes those opportunities that related to your business. Okay, so you would be repeating the steps above that we had mentioned, and you will be going through all of these steps. You will be answering a lot of federal acquisition regulation questions. And Beth, can you put acquisition, pardon me, acquisition.gov link in for everybody where all of those federal acquisition definitions are? So it may seem overwhelming, but it's very important to understand that because it does reveal all the considerations that federal government has before issuing a contract to someone, that it may limit, the kind of business you're doing with the government. So while it's a lot to read, it's very important to understand. As a part of your registration, you will be prompted to create an SBA profile known as Dynamic Small Business Search. It is a nice marketing tool provided to you for free by the government that makes your business appear discoverable to other businesses and federal agencies in the categories that you have input in a SAM.gov system. So you can click here, register on update SAM.gov, but something I want you to caution you on, in the last year and a half, we have seen this message happen a lot, right? So, and this happened a few days ago as I was working with a client that the SBA supplemental page link is currently unavailable, but there is a way to circumvent that and enter that information via SBA site directly. If you have trouble populating this, our counselors can certainly help you with that. So something to keep in mind. Now, at this point, we have kind of walked through SAM.gov registration. And, we talked a lot, but I definitely want to kind of show you a live demo on how to, let me just change this, how to look for contract opportunities, right? So I am going to do a new share, so bear with me as I want to show you how this is. Okay, just bear with me. I want to show you how to enter SAM.gov and use it for purposes of searching for opportunities. Right? So you're gonna click a sign in, accept, and then you're going to log into the system. As mentioned, every single time it's going to ask you for a two-step authentication. It doesn't matter if you're already logged in today. I have, and here I am prompted to enter this information again. And so even though you would think you want to search, you would click on search here. And so what's not most intuitive to many people is that you actually have to click on all domains to see what type of search you want to do. Now, in this particular instance, we are searching for contract opportunities, right? So, and there are many different ways to search for opportunities that are relevant to your business. So you can search by federal organizations you're looking to do business with to see what they have recently published. And they're all listed here. So if you know that if the Department of Agriculture is the one targeting federal agency you want to work in, you will go select them. You want to see that, if it's based on dates due. Sometimes the notices do not have a lot of prep time in order for you to submit the registration. You can also search by notice type. and our counselors can discuss what that means to you, whether it's a per-solicitation, whether it's an RFP, RFI. If you have business certifications and you want to search based on set-asides that are relevant to your business, whether you are service disabled, veteran-owned small business set-asides, woman-owned, you can search by those categories as well, because as we know, set-asides shrink a pool of competition for you, as they are designated for businesses with those certifications. So you can also search by place of performance. So if you know that you're limited in terms of what you can provide, you can enter a state where you want to provide, and or even a zip code. And another category that I suggest is the product or service information. Those are those NAICS codes and PSC codes that we had discussed. So let's just take an example. One of the links we provided you with to find your appropriate NAICS codes, North American Industry Classification System. You would enter a keyword here and find one. So for example, I found one in administrative management. So I want to use this NAICS codes and see what opportunities are listed here in SAM.gov under that NAICS code, right? So, and it's going to populate, quite a bit of results. So we have about 600 these results in this category. So if this is too broad for you, then you would, let's say, I want to provide that just in Pennsylvania. So let's see what opportunities are here in Pennsylvania in this zip code. And there is one, right? So this is how I would use those filters in order to narrow down your search. And another helpful uh, tool is these are opportunities that are currently listed. But if you want to look at a little bit of history on how previously government might have published these opportunities, you click on inactive record and look what those opportunities look like. It will reveal several things, such as, which federal agencies might have recently published opportunities in SAM.gov relative to that. So this is just a brief walkthrough on how to search for opportunities. There are even more filters that you may find helpful. But as mentioned, our counselors can definitely walk you through this and through this process. So I'm gonna stop sharing and go back to our original start slide here. And okay, let's share this and go back to the current slide. Okay. I'm just trying to keep it brief in the interest of time and to leave some time for your questions as well. So how can CPAP Apex Accelerator assist you with your registration? Well, we can virtually guide you through the process. I personally find it to be the most helpful for my clients, where we do screen sharing. We are not entering information for you. You are just sharing screen with us. We are seeing what you are seeing and help you interpret the ask and what is the most appropriate input for you, right? We can help interpret messages and requests from Federal Service Desk. So when you submit all of your information, and Federal Service Desk may come back and say, okay, we need to supplement your registration with additional information. You can send those messages to us, to your assigned counselor, and we can help you interpret that. Sometimes those messages are tied to a deadline. Do not miss it. If they're telling you they want these answers within 3 business days sent to this particular email address, do provide them with that, because it will freeze your registration process. And after a certain time, you may start restarting from scratch. And that certainly is a tedious process. If you were, hesitant about making changes in your existing record, we can certainly help you with that if you want to add additional NAICS code. So let's say you found a solicitation that you want to go after, but you don't have your NAICS codes in your profile for that. We can certainly help you go back, revisit your profile, and enter those NAICS codes. Now, another very important thing that we can do for you is if you are having significant issues with SAM.gov registration process, we can escalate the registration on your behalf. But here is a caveat. We can only do this in two instances. If you currently have a contract pending with the government. So if you were previously registered, you went after opportunity, it was time for renewal, it did not renew in time for whatever technical reasons, we can escalate it on your behalf. It is in the interest of the government to continue to work with those select businesses. So we want to keep this process as smooth as possible. On the other hand, if you're currently engaged with the federal government and you have a payment pending for services that you have already provided, but your renewal is not going through as it should, we can escalate this. We cannot escalate it just in case if your documents do not match, right? Because as we know, you would need to fix those documents in order to move forward with your registration. So that needs to precede the other. So hopefully. And so we have, so now that kind of wraps up our presentation. We will definitely get to all of your questions, but I just want Beth to kind of walk us through very important upcoming sessions that we have in September, October, and even November that you definitely want to consider. Beth, you want to share?
Yep. Thank you. Um, as you know, that this is part of this, today's event is the fourth in our September series, discussing registration in SAM.gov. Tomorrow, we have the last of this government contracting series titled How to Develop a Capability Statement. If you've spoken with a counselor, you already know that this is a foundational piece that is required for all businesses. And it's also the once and done cheapest marketing tool you're ever going to have for your business. So if you want to join us tomorrow morning, it's the same time as today's event. And I will be throwing the registration link for that up into the chat. And in addition to that, tomorrow's event, we have 3 more upcoming events, one at the end of the September and 2 in October, that I'm suggesting that everyone pay quite close attention to. The first is understanding the DoD and SBA mentor protege programs. And you may ask yourself, what is that? Come and find out. These mentor protege programs are awesome resources for small businesses to receive mentorship from larger primes. So, in ways to develop your subcontracting skills and to grow your business. The second is doing business with Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is a global, large prime business that is involved in all sorts of aeronautics and different types of manufacturing. If you are interested in learning more about how to subcontract with large primes, attending this webinar will be vitally important because you're going to get information directly from a prime, what it is that they want to see in a subcontractor. So how to make yourself more marketable in that type of relationship. And the last is DLA troop support for vendors. The Defense Logistics Agency Troop Support is the agency within the government that buys everything for the military servicemen and women. If you have a product out there that is, you're looking to get, in front of somebody that, can help with our national defense industry or, just our soldiers, out in the field, this is the webinar for you. It's going to, again, we'll have, a representative from the DLA that will tell you, help inform you about how to, again, make your business marketable to their agency. And I will be putting the registration links to each of these upcoming events into the chat.
Thank you very much, Beth. And, once again, I want to emphasize that, we really try to make it easier for you to connect directly to these federal buyers, right? So events such as DLA, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, is certainly a vehicle to that, right? There's an impression that, it's not easy to find the right person to talk to. These are definitely right people to talk to. And as far as this opportunity with Lockheed Martin, so even if you're not looking to partner with Lockheed Martin, this person is very experienced in, as Beth said, in terms of requirements for subcontractors and how to make yourself visible. Sometimes going after an opportunity that is too large, it cannot be fulfilled by you, is a great way to look for partnership with businesses that can. So this is, please do register for this event. All right, so this is time for the questions, and I also saw some for chat in the chat. So we will go over those too. But after we have answered those, please feel free to unmute yourself and speak up. So, Keisha, even though Beth, I see, has already answered your question, for everybody else's benefit, I will answer it. So, Keisha's question was, do you need to be registered in SAM before registering for DSBS? Yes, you do. DSBS is automatically created when you register in SAM.gov. We just always suggest that you go and supplement it with your capability narrative and some other supplemental information so it looks even more presentable to other businesses. Another question is, do I need to be fully registered with a CAGE code, or does UEI give you access to your DSBS? So anybody can view a DSBS. UEI will give a record of your business, but it will preclude you from doing a business as a prime if you do not have a CAGE code. Beth has also listed a link for acquisition.gov. You can access that. So whenever you see a FAR number, anything, this is your source where you can find the answers to those FAR questions. And let's see, upcoming events. And yes, so now at this point, I welcome you in just unmuting yourself and asking a question if you have one. I hope that this has made this daunting journey of registering in SAM a little bit easier. Shy group today. Okay. Oh, we have a couple of questions. Okay, okay. Any guidance of finding primes to work with you? Yes, we can definitely provide you with the guidance. Yes. There's quite a few databases that help you identify previous private entities that were successful in obtaining contracts with the government in your category, and we will help you find those and kind of discuss the best way to pitch your business or look for ways to partner with them on those opportunities. Also, Mentor Protege program is one of those programs that you and identified large prime may want to pursue jointly. Mm-hmm. So the database FPDS that I have mentioned, you can easily find businesses that were previously successful in that NAICS code. So that would be one step, for example. But Michelle, we can certainly, you can schedule your session with your counselor and they'll guide you through it. Also, if you go on a DoD website, your counselor can guide you there. Sometimes they list the large primes that they're currently working with. That is a good question because any opportunities that are 750,000 or larger have a requirement of having a subcontracting plan. So often these large businesses are looking for capable small businesses to partner with. Okay. Well, if there are no more questions, I definitely want to thank you for your participation today. And yes, if you're currently not signed up for our services, do sign up. We will give you your individual counselor, help you with the customized approach to government marketing. You're welcome, Ling, Keisha as well. Pleasure seeing you all.